everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Today we're talking about turntables and headphones. Is that a good combination? You're not going to want to miss this. Now, before we discuss the concept of headphones and turntables and records, let's take a look at a pair of headphones, a new pair of headphones, and see if they would fit the bill. Welcome back into the studio. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. So before we pick out our turntable of choice, let's take a look at some headphones. Today we're looking at these NH20 headphones. In fact, they look very cool. And yes, I am a sucker for packaging, for product shots, and obviously the specifications. I've never heard of this company, and I turn down more headphones than I agree to these days just because it's got to be interesting. It's got to be something different. These are closed back studio headphones, NH20, professional series, whatever that means. Dual vector driver setup, dual magnet circuit, double cavity dynamic driver, optimized for studio monitoring. Are these true studio monitors or are they headphones? The difference being that a studio monitor, either a headphone studio monitor or a speaker studio monitor, will be a flat EQ, allowing you to hear the sound signature of the music directly, whereas a headphone or a regular speaker will have an EQ sound signature. NF ACOUS. Here's a look at the back, showing the construction. Very interesting. They're really proud of this absorption module for reflected sound. All right. And there we go. Yeah, the packaging is nice. Packaging really does have to be on point these days because everybody's doing quality packaging. All right. Outer cover. Again, this packaging style with the outer cover and the inner box is pretty common. That's cool. Look at that. That looks really cool. I like that. This is slick. This is a slick presentation. Wow, look up here. Up here we've got like the user manual tucked into this pocket right there. That's nice. And we have an actual headphone case. Very nice in the box, as you can see there. Cable tucked in down here. Okay, you get two cables. So what do we got here? We've got a TRRS 1/8 inch to a TRS 1/8 inch, and then it's got this screw-on adapter to go to 1/4 inch. And then down here we've got, it looks like a longer cable, essentially doing the same thing. Gold-plated terminals, and of course the headphones themselves. And this nice, look at the rubber grip. This is cool. Little zipper pulls are cool looking. Love this stuff. This is fun. This is fun. All right. Nice form-fitted padded case. All right. They're not quite as bulky as I thought they would be. I thought they'd be like huge, like at my M60, but these are more compact than expected. Just for size comparison, those are the M60s, and you can see these are quite more compact, which is a good thing. I think that's a good thing. I love big over-the-ear headphones, but these are very bulky, whereas these are much less so. Let's take a closer look. Let's start with the headband. So we got like a leather material with the branding offset. Inside of the headband is like a memory foam with a felt lining. And then right about here it becomes rigid as the headband extensions slide inward, so we'll see how comfortable that is. Here is the side. This stuff is plastic, and it pivots like that. Now, what does this say? So we got tips, assumedly, yeah, this peels off. Okay, so it actually has alignment capabilities with a jack. Must have a little notch on the side. When not connected with cables, please put the soft rubber plug on the connector for better seal. And then we can pull this off to reveal this, like, I guess it's a matte finish. I thought that was going to be shiny, but a matte finish with this metal colored inlay. That might actually be a metal inlay too. That's really cool. And then flipping them around, you can see that they rotate out like that. They're clearly labeled, which I think is a nice way to do it. The ear cup itself is nice. It's like a boxed in leather type of material, padded, and typical inset there. And then the cables Do they connect right here? I'm not sure where the cables connect. You're probably seeing it before I do. Okay, so yeah, there's like a little plug in there. Now, is there also one on this side? I feel like there is. Why would you have one on both sides? Oh, I see. So one, are they different sizes? Why would you have one on each side? Because these cables, some headphone cables, you know, split onto both, but these I don't think do that. And look at this. These actually have a threading so that you can screw them down, although that's definitely not going to fit in there. So this has to be the side that's designed in that little notch. And then they say that you can kind of feel your way in, which I'm not really. Oh, I see. Like there's like a little, see that? There's a little cutout in there. You kind of push it in. It's keyed. So you go in like this and then rotate it. And then, oops, apparently I didn't go in far enough. There we go. I felt it. And then it's in there tight. But then why on this side is one balanced and one unbalanced? Not 100% sure why there's two headphone receptacles there. So apparently you just pick one, whichever one you want, and then you can put the plug back on the other side for the one you're not going to be using. So interesting. You've got choices. Choices are good. Okay, now I need to spend some time with these, so I'm filming this a couple days in advance, and I will live with these for a couple of days and let you know how they fit, how they sound, any quirks that I discover. I can tell you already that I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that like lock and twist idea of the headphone connector. I think just the regular, you know, purchase that you get by plugging in a headphone cable would be enough, but we'll see. I mean, I get the idea that they won't pop out unannounced, as it were. I put the short cable in, and yeah, we're good to go there. So I'm going to spend a couple of days, listen to these with all genres of music. They do recommend a burn-in period of 50 hours, although they say that it's not a specific burn-in, but to get the best sound, the first 50 hours, use them with lower volume, and then eventually, you know, they'll be sounding their best is essentially what it's a burn-in. It's what it is. Burn-in without calling it one. So, all right, we'll cut to you guys in a couple of days.
This adapter's where it all begins. Your vinyl dreams are calling out loud. Be the king, be the queen of the record crowd. Record-ology's got what you must embrace. A 45 adapter to rock the place.
Okay, so many days have gone by, well, a few days, and I've spent quite a bit of time with these headphones. I've listened to stuff on, you know, my phone with like a nice dongle DAC. I've used this little Shanling tube DAC, which is really, really good for like private headphone listening. And I've listened to other sources as well, but the primary use case and the purpose for this video is listening to vinyl with headphones. Now, first I'm going to tell you what that's like in general if you haven't done it before. I personally am not a headphone user when it comes to vinyl most of the time. I primarily listen to speakers. I love listening to headphones, but usually if I'm listening to headphones, I'm listening to streaming or like a portable CD player, portable tape player, something like that. But I would say 90% of the time when I've got the headphones on, it's streaming. And 90% of the time when I'm listening to vinyl, to records, they are going through speakers of some sort. And that's just the way I like to do it. Now, I have tried headphones with many types of record players over the years. I've tried them with suitcase players, and you will just basically get a louder, more intimate version of what you're hearing there. So the sound is still going to be a little bit tinny, not as bassy as you would like, a little harsh and crunchy due to that ceramic cartridge technology and hopefully impedance balanced. But it's going to be a little bit more in your face, or specifically in your ears. That can be kind of annoying. So if you don't like the sound signature of that type of record player, then you may not like it even more so when it's clamped onto your head. Now, if you take it a step further and listen to something like an Eastwood 2, something with a good magnetic cartridge and a headphone jack, you're going to get a much better experience. And I think that that's sort of the bottom level of what I would recommend in terms of listening to your records with headphones. And some people think that, oh, I get a suitcase player. Yeah, the speakers aren't the greatest. I could just fix that by listening to headphones or hooking it up to a big sound system. you really, in all cases, not just that, you're really just amplifying what's already there. So keep that in mind. I took it to what I would call level 3 use case when it comes to listening to your headphones, and I've been listening to them a lot recently, like I said, and I decided to do something a little bit different. I took a non-headphone jack equipped turntable. In this case, I took my LP60X, actually it's the LP Go, the Walmart exclusive, basically an LP60X. And because this does not have a headphone jack, I connected it to a preamplifier that does. I used this Duke Audio phono preamp that happens to have a headphone jack and a volume control. And it's great. It's got tubes and it gives a nice warm sound. I also upgraded the 3600's conical stylus to the elliptical version. And this makes a really good combo. This is kind of my right-hand turntable right now. It was really good. It actually sounded phenomenal. I liked it more than I remembered liking headphone listening when it comes to turntables and vinyl records. I listened to a variety of genres, and this is what I want to tell you. So if you've got a good, decent turntable, and with a preamp and a headphone jack or a headphone amplifier, you can listen to any turntable that, even if it doesn't, or any audio equipment, even if it doesn't have a headphone jack. That's the beauty of an external headphone amplifier, or the beauty of a phono preamp with a headphone jack. There's ways to add headphone connectivity to a device that didn't originally come with it. Because they do make a headphone equipped version of the LP60X. Mine doesn't have that. So I needed that bit of extra equipment. But this was sort of a custom config I did because I wanted a good use case. I wanted a good experience. I just didn't want to hook it up to the lowest common denominator I had. And I wanted to say, yes, this is a good scenario, or no, I wouldn't recommend it. So how do I emerge from this evaluation? I emerged with yes, with a caveat or 2 or 10. Yes, it sounds good. It's very listenable. I listened to some audiophile records. I listened to some regular records, and cleaner records are represented much better. If you have pops and cracks and hiss and the audio stuff that goes along with old, worn, and dirty records, they're going to be more intolerable on a set of headphones because they're amplified and they're closer to your ears. And there's something about listening to speakers that sort of dulls out those transient noises that tend to be annoying, like those loud pops and clicks and the crackles and everything. And all of a sudden, it's really close to your head and it's harder to ignore. That being said, when you have a good, clean record, well-pressed record, and a decent record player, you're going to hear nuances in the music that I don't think you can hear with even good speakers. It can be good and bad. Do you want the imperfections close, but also do you want those sonic ear candy moments close as well? So it's kind of a two-edged sword. The other thing I wanted to put out there as sort of a caveat is that when you listen to headphones and a record, even with a good record player, a good cartridge, a good preamp, you're going to hear the background noise of the needle dragging on the record surface as well. It's sort of a dull scratching sound, almost a dull, like drawing your finger along the table. Like if you listen to it, you can hear that it's there, but as soon as the music starts, you're not going to hear it. But there is noise. There's a noise floor to vinyl records that, again, kind of dissipates when listening on speakers, but with the headphones, again, much more obvious. Something to consider.
You're watching Record-ology.
They're pretty dang good. They're definitely not the best headphones I've ever had, but they're definitely not the worst either. I would say if I had to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I would give these a solid 7. The build quality is fantastic. That feels like quality equipment when you pick it up. I believe this rim is metal. Even the plastic elements seem like a dense plastic. It doesn't seem like a light, cheap, hollow plastic. The headband is a good material. I mean, the fit and finish is good. Everything looks tight on it. It's a nice compact size. So if you're coming from something with a much bigger ear cup, you're going to enjoy this. I like the fact that it has the leather on the outside of the ear cup, but the part that actually touches your ear is more of a felt fabric material. So it's comfortable like that. And the size of these ear cups fit over my ears perfectly. And so yeah, there's that. Interesting about you can pick either side for the headphone jack. I probably would have gone for the left just because that's what most of us are used to on headphones that only have one connector. That being said, I was getting used to the fact that I have it connected on the right. I could swap it over. This is much more preferred than having the split cable of yore. We always had that back in the day. I definitely prefer this over it. The one gripe on comfort and the actual physical aspect of these is there is a hard piece all the way along the inside of this until about right here on both sides. So the only part that's soft is this part, and then starting right about here and right here where my thumbs are, all the way down there, that is rigid. Even though it's covered in that fabric, it is rigid. So as you can see, the headband area, the effective area, is a lot smaller. Now, if you have an enormous head like I do, you will notice that most of that is going off the sides there. But a couple of times I was like leaning on a pillow or something, or I was leaning on my side, and I felt the edge of that dig into my head a little bit, and that was definitely uncomfortable. So something to be aware of. Also, if you had it smashed down tighter, that would probably be more of a risk of that happening. That being said, if you keep it up there light and you're not leaning on anything when you're listening to these, they sounded fine and they fit really well. I do like the click mechanism of this headband. I think that that's very well done. Sometimes that aspect feels like the weakest link on a pair of headphones, but this in this case it does not. The cables they include are good. The connectors are good as well. I feel that everything is good. So how do they sound? And this is where most of the 7 out of 10, if it was just the fit and finish, I would give these an 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.5 out of 10. But the sound is where we end up at a 7 out of 10 overall. And the reason is it's good, but it's not great. And it's good in its quality, in its detail, in its richness, its tonality, in its balance, in the quality of listening. It's not hollow, it's not boxy, it's none of those bad things that you really don't want your headphones to be. It feels immediate, it feels a good high end, good mid-range, but the area that it's lacking is in the bass. Now, it's not a gutless, bassless set of headphones. It does have bass, and but there's a roll-off somewhere along the line where I noticed that on other headphones, I'm able to get more bass. And so some of my favorite bass drops and bass notes were simply omitted with these, and that was a bummer. Or they were rolled off and you could hear that they were depleted somewhat, and that's a major bummer because I like my bass. You know, I'm a child of the 90s. If you're listening to like hip hop or something that has a defined deep bass drop, you're gonna be like, could have used a little bit more. I believe these have a 40 millimeter driver, which is on the smaller side for full-size headphones, but definitely capable of delivering more punch. So that's my one bit of feedback. Overall, good build, good sound quality, not the best. A solid pair of headphones though, for sure. Listening to your records, I think that they'd be pretty dang good, but if you wanted a better experience with the bass from your records, then I might suggest a pair of headphones that do better in that department. And overall, I say yes. Headphones and turntables, headphones and vinyl are a good combination. All right, my friends, and that's going to do it. Let me know in the comments down below what you would say in regards to this question. Do turntables and headphones go together? Let me know what headphones you like to listen to, and let me know any other tips, tricks, or caveats that I may have forgotten. I want to remind you that we've got our $1 membership program. We've got our Amazon store, our custom 45 adapters, live shows, giveaways, and oh so much more that we would really love to have you along for. But that's going to do it for today, so happy record hunting, and we'll see you next time.